lovelies, welcome in or welcome back. I'm Syrinx, I'm a cosplayer, a TTRPG player, and the LARPer, and in today's video, I want to tell you a little bit about Coven 1934, which is a LARP by Jackalope Live Action Studios that I got to attend, and I want to tell you why you should give it a try. So, if you don't know what a LARPing is, LARP stands for live action role-playing. Basically, you dress up and play pretend with other adults. You get together for an evening, a weekend, or even a full week to tell and experience an immersive story together. Now, the LARP that we are going to be talking about in this video is Coven 1934. Now, what is it exactly? I will tell you in the words of Jackalope Studios themselves. Coven 1934 is an occult horror LARP. The LARP itself is set during the American Dust Bowl, in a small town at the edge of unreality and fate. The town is inhabited by a mixture of unnatural characters lurking at the edges of darkness, mundane characters who live there, and those who straddle the line. So, in general, I had the most amazing time at Coven 1934. The entire event was spectacular. The story I got to experience there was so impactful, and it'll stay with me for a long time to come still. And while we will be seeing a video all about the story I got to experience there, in this video specifically, I want to give you a few points of why I think Coven 1934 is going to be worth your time to try out. So first of all, the thing most noticeable in all of the photos that you will see is the location that they chose for this LARP. My god, the location, you guys. It was amazing. It was so good for the setting that they were trying to portray. See, I had my doubts before arriving, but the location turned out to be absolutely perfect because I was afraid it was going to be too big because, you know, you're trying to portray this town, but if you have to walk 15 minutes to try and find someone and you can't find them anywhere and you have to walk 15 minutes back, it just takes you out of the game and you're like, screw it, I won't find this person then. And it hinders the game more than helps it. But this location, beautiful. It was just small enough to give that small town Texas feel, but it was big enough for everyone to have a little corner to go to if they needed a more private moment, or if they needed to give someone private lessons in the church. You'll know what I'm talking about soon enough. The location just helped immensely with the immersion of the event itself. The moment you stepped past that town sign, you truly felt like you had walked into the town of Covenant, which was, again, great for immersion. On to the next point that I want to talk about, which was the pacing of the game. The pacing of the game was gorgeously executed. See, they went for this more slow burn feeling, but the slow burn never actually felt too slow. See, I'm a person who's used to LARPs either being one evening or even being a full weekend, so I know how to adjust what I want to play, but then it makes it easier for me to know the pacing of the game to adjust what I want to play in what moment. I always felt like I could follow the plot, quote unquote, or my main plot line, while still always having a little bit of time for that just extra interpersonal roleplay scene that perhaps if timing was off, I wouldn't have time for. But I felt like I had all the time to tell this beautiful story over the 2 days that we got to play, and it made the ending feel just so bittersweet. Did it end in a very satisfying way? Yes, it absolutely did. But would I miss these characters and this world? Yes, absolutely. Did I have enough time for a beautiful story? Yes. Could it have gone on longer for me? Absolutely. But that is sadly enough the case with every LARP you'll ever go to. You would always want it to go on just that tiny bit longer. What also helped with the pacing was that they had 2 fixed group moments, which was the first night where they had the shindig and then the second morning, which was Sunday Mass. There were these moments where everyone was supposed to be brought together, and it helped to give you a sense of where everyone else was in the game. You could also feel where the story was at that moment, and it helped me tremendously to get a moment together with everyone in the group to know, okay, this is where we're at right now. Let's keep going forward in this direction. The next point that I want to address is the fact that it was so clear that the LARP was written with certain themes in mind for the story. The themes that they had in mind came through so beautifully in roleplay and interactions with other people, and also just at the end, the way people talked about the game. It wasn't a story about one side winning. It was a story about the human soul and what lengths it would go to persevere in the face of oppression and corruption. Every time I felt despair or hopelessness in game, I knew the storytellers had intended for this to happen and for me to feel hopeless in this moment. And in turn, that hopelessness, that feeling of powerlessness in game made me feel super empowered as a player to make bold choices for my character that would make for the most interesting story. It wasn't about winning. It was a story about being human, what it meant to have a human soul, how far you could go and bend before you broke and you became someone else. It was a beautiful story about hope in the face of corruption and oppression, and about how humans, despite everything, would still persevere and would still keep fighting. And man, it was beautiful. Going on to a next topic, which is the fact that the LARP had pre-written characters. This isn't uncommon in LARPs at all. A lot of the Nordic style LARPs have pre-written characters that you will get cast into a character as you sign up for the LARP. But the fact that they also used pre-written characters now for Coven meant that you had these pre-established connections into the story that you could just play off of. Regardless of all of this, it's such a nice feeling also to know that you are portraying someone's written character and bringing their vision to life in your own way. It's quite exciting. But also the fact that you are picking up this character that has pre-established connections, at least a few of them, that if you as a player don't feel super comfortable making a whole lot of other connections outside of the game to establish up front, it meant that you could start your game at least knowing, hey, my character has connections to these 3 people. I can go and find play with these 3 people and we'll see where it goes from there. But also, you know that you have some kind of part to play in the story. In some way, your character was written into the story because they have a significant role to play in it. You just need to find it and embody it and make it your own. But yes, absolutely loved the fact that they worked with pre-written characters here, and I think they worked great to establish the feeling of this small town. You had all of these player groups of either a rich family in town, the law in town, the church in town, or for us, the Coven of Witches in town. You had these small circles which all interconnected with each other and created play in like this giant circle that is the town of Covenant. And again, the pre-written characters just made this town come to life even more. Going into the next thing, which is the organization always made it clear that this story was about losing. You should not go into this game wanting to win with your side, because chances are it's not gonna happen. And in the end, none of the sides really win. But as a player, I get that there could be the sense of competition where it's like, oh, you want your side, your team to win whatever winning would entail. But the organization constantly made it clear that this game, this LARP, this story wasn't about winning, it was about losing. Coming to terms with the fact that you know you will lose gives you such a broad field of opportunity in how you want to tell the story of you losing. The ending is set. You will lose. The only question that remains then and gives you the creative freedom is, how do you want to lose? And what's the most interesting way for you to lose? Trust me when I say that knowing you will lose gives you so many more opportunities to be creative than trying to vie for a chance to win ever would. And I myself had a blast in this. At a certain point in the game, I truly felt a little helpless because I said, well, I'm trying to keep the balance in this town, but all of these sides feel like they're winning. And I just don't know what else is in my capabilities to do against this to fight. But then I sat down and I said, well, this game is about losing. So maybe I should finally accept that I can't keep fighting. There's nothing I can do to fight. The only thing is, what would be the most logical way for me to lose? And I then, in game, came up with this crazy idea of, well, if I just gather all of these 8 corruption coins of each side inside of me, I surely won't go crazy or anything, and I will just be balanced myself. An absolutely insane outgame idea that I knew was going to fail horribly, but I said, well, it seems like an interesting way to lose or to try. So hey, when they say play to lose and play to lift, we really mean that in a LARP. It helps a lot and it adds a lot to the story if you are playing to lose. It'll lift so many people around you up. Next reason why Coven 1934 was incredible was the safety mechanics that they used at Jackalope. They used the standard gestures, which was an okay check to see if someone was okay in the scene that they were in, to which they could respond. You could also bow out of a scene that you were in, but you actually didn't want to participate in anymore. But also, one that was the first time for me to use was the negotiation system, in which you would put up an outgame finger sign and tell someone negotiation and then violence or intimacy or any topic that you want to discuss. In that moment, it was kind of like bullet time, where you quickly outgame calibrated this thing you wanted to do. For example, negotiation violence, I want to hit your face, or well, pretend to hit your face. Are you okay with that? And if the person was okay with that, they repeated it, and you could quickly hash out the scene, either violent or intimate, of, hey, is it okay if I put a hand on your face? It made you feel very safe in the moment to say no, but it also didn't drag you out of the game too much for it to bother you. It was a great system, and it just meant that, you know, in this setting where you know stuff is going to get very deep, very emotional, very raw. The themes of this game are about human nature, human soul, desperation, corruption, all very emotional topics. It's important that you're safe in playing them out and you feel safe to play them out with the people around you. And these safety mechanics that they put in place, that they practiced with the players in the workshops before the game, just added to the fact that you could feel safe playing out this very deep an emotional story for yourself. It was amazing, and it actually leads me into the final part about why you should maybe give Coven 1934 a try, or any Jackalope event for that matter, which is the community. As someone who came from overseas, I only knew a handful of people who were going to be present at the LARP, but everyone was so genuinely welcoming to me. There were so many great examples of play to lift behavior in this community, and the usage of these safety mechanics that I mentioned before made for this very engaged group who could safely tell a very impactful story together. I think Jackalope has a beautiful, safe community built around its LARP, which will definitely welcome you if you were to give it a try. And there we go. Those are some of the big reasons why I think you should try out Coven 1934, or any Jackalope LARP for that matter, when you get a chance to. If you are curious about the story that I got to experience there myself, and all about my character Naomi, then keep an eye on this channel, as a storytime video will be dropping very soon. But until then, stay human, stay safe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.